I think I'm still trying to at least get somewhat of some clear oxygen in the room from that temptation spray that, of course, signals the entrance of our Anarchy heavyweight champion, Shaun Tempers, who finds himself standing right beside one of the members of the Elite, which is the Deadly Sin 7, taking on, of course, the challenge of Slim J and Jeremy Vane. And as you, of course, are probably aware of, and certainly our fans on Anarchy Television, pretty much how this match came to be. You know, we saw the Anarchy Heavyweight Championship being defended not long ago on television against the likes of Slim J. Slim J showing really well, you know, in that matchup. The problem is, you know, having other members of the Elite making their appearance known, and Jeremy Vane pretty much coming out to save Slim J, and thus why we're here at this moment.
You know, Tim, I realize this is going to be our last regular main event together with you here in the broadcast booth. I have to imagine, you know, starting next week when you're sitting at home watching Anarchy Television, you're not going to be missing that temptation spray.
No, absolutely not. And please, you know, for a Christmas gift, don't send me any. A fine card will be nice, and maybe a picture or two. As Shaun Tempers and Jeremy Vane, looks like they're going to be trying to start off the matchup here. Both men really are quite considered veterans, of course, in the sport. And Shaun Tempers, what an amazing year and two that he's had. Jeremy Vane trying to see if he can get somewhat of a great opportunity here in any offense. And sometimes, you know, I almost question even Shaun Tempers, because it almost makes me feel like maybe Shaun Tempers wants to put it out there and see what Jeremy Vane may have. You know, maybe that's what Shaun Tempers is prepared for, just to see what you know, almost willing to take a risk to see what Jeremy Vane might have in the tank here.
Well, whatever it takes to get the job done. A hip toss by Jeremy Vane. An arm drag and a beauty.
Straight into that arm bar and working on it. And Shaun Tempers, if that was indeed his strategy at the beginning, maybe wishing he didn't do that, and maybe took advantage at the very beginning of trying to lay some onslaught in, because you can't take Jeremy Vane lightly. And what's amazing, too, is who's standing on the outside there. Slim J about to be tagged in. The innovator of offense, as I like to call him, dropping that elbow continuously. How many partners have we seen Slim J tag with? And no matter what position he is in, no matter what partner, he almost always seems to come out on top, because he is the true veteran and Grand Slam champion here in Anarchy.
Well, every one of the superstars involved in tonight's main event, a well-decorated athlete. All four, correct me if I'm wrong on this, former Anarchy heavyweight champions, including the current champion, obviously the Temptation, Shaun Tempers.
Yeah, certainly the resume speaks of a who's who in this matchup here. Everyone's got the talent and skill, and on any night could be that Anarchy heavyweight champion. And that certainly has to be a concern, at least for Shaun Tempers, going out of this tag team matchup, because, of course, could be Anarchy heavyweight championship implications going on here. And we've certainly, as seen earlier, Jeff G. Bailey might be wanting to look over his shoulder and seeing the likes of Jeter, perhaps, because as we know, that edict of only 3 men in the Elite, Jeter not making the cut. We've got Jagged Edge, Shaun Tempers, and the Deadly Sin 7, two of the members in that main event here.
Well, those three do seem to be the locks, according to Jeff G. Bailey, although we haven't seen the Jagged Edge here this week. Yeah, maybe he is on the chopping block. Who knows?
Yeah, the only really official that we know, which makes the total sense, of course, having Shaun Tempers, as he said, the team captain, that we definitely know is in, as well as it looks like the Deadly Sin 7.
Well, you're not going to give up the heavyweight champion. You know,
no, absolutely
that'd be ridiculous.
Not. And, of course, Slim J, Shaun Tempers going at it. These two have certainly no love lost in the past here in Anarchy. Both members a staple here in this organization. And really, you know, with Slim J, it really doesn't matter the size. He will figure out a different way to go at you with his offense and adjust. And one of the things that's impressive with Slim J is he can adjust on the fly in the middle of the air even and still be able to come out sometimes. That's what's really impressive with him.
Leg sweep by Slim J. Flips over the heavyweight champion.
Shaun Tempers dragging his way over, and he was able at least to make the tag. You have to wonder if that helps with that little bit of size advantage against Slim J. And if there was ever a size disadvantage, he's stepping in right there in the form of the Deadly Sin 7.
Well, I thought David was going to meet Goliath, but instead Slim J tagging out to Jeremy Vane, who's a little bit closer in height, but definitely the advantage going to the Deadly Sin 7.
You can imagine the lockup on this one. Wow, certainly the power and size advantage there. No surprise from the Deadly Sin 7. Shaun Tempers giving a little bit of encouragement there as Jeff G. Bailey on the outside. Jeremy Vane, you know, who recently made his way back into Anarchy, we haven't seen in a while, off doing other promotions, and now finding his way back in. And may not be really prepared for some of the competition that we do have here, because they've been pretty much able to fight in and week out on Anarchy television. Of course, not taking anything away from Jeremy Vane, but sometimes the landscape can change, as we certainly have seen from Hardcore Hell in the War Games match. So much has changed in Anarchy. If you had seen the way things looked before the big show event, that you wouldn't even recognize it now. So much has changed.
Well, when Jeremy Vane returned, he came to a promotion where the superstars have gotten bigger, they've gotten taller, they've gotten stronger.
And more hungrier as well, too. Any one of these men would love to have a championship in their fold. Jeremy Vane trying to fight back, but, I got to give him an A for effort here, at least doing that against Se7en, but it's not really having any effectiveness whatsoever. Oh, that shoulder just driving again and again into the midsection there, onto Jeremy Vane. Thought perhaps maybe we see a snake eyes or something to that effect, but when you're up on the shoulder of, we did, as a matter of fact, from Se7en, winds up the big boot as well. And right there, Se7en could have gone for the pin, but I feel like it's just a matter of showing Slim J and all of that locker room in the back some words and a lesson as the heavyweight champion tagged in. Shaun Tempers may be trying to send a message as well to Jeremy Vane for trying to stick his nose into his matchup several weeks ago when he was taking on Slim J. And right there we have Jeff G. Bailey utilizing his presence, as typically he does.
It's certainly not giving Jeremy Vane a neck massage by any means.
Absolutely not. And the Anarchy Heavyweight Champion with a snapmare down to Jeremy Vane continues to go right back to work again in the center of the ring, to the delight and pleasure of Jeff G. Bailey. So much that we've seen this week here in Anarchy. And of course, so much more on the horizon as we continue week in and week out. Certainly want to stay with us here. And Jeremy Vane trying to fight his way back up. Shaun Tempers was trying everything he could. Beautiful counter there from Jeremy Vane. It's got enough at least of a point for him to make the tag to Slim J. Slim J is going to take the big man down and chop him to size. Slim J's on fire, had a chance to regroup. Deadly Sin 7 checking on the Anarchy Heavyweight Champion. Slim J on the top rope here. He's going to fly with effectiveness, no less. Oh, just winding up that boot straight into Se7en. And now he goes after work on the Anarchy Heavyweight Champion, taking that knee and driving it straight into Shaun Tempers' skull.
It could be a power slam by the champion, and a running power slam indeed by the Temptation, Shaun Tempers.
That's the one bad thing when Slim J puts himself in that position. Sometimes someone that's a little bigger size able to get the wherewithal and pretty much cut any offense off of Slim J. And now Jeremy Vane wants back in, but Shaun Tempers is going to be able to get that privilege as the Deadly Sin 7 tagged in. Slim J, the recipient of that big boot, continuously eyeing up one more time, almost like it was going to be making a field goal attempt.
As you said, like hunting the midsection of Slim J. Jay struggling to get back up to his feet, using the ropes to help himself up, but it lands his throat right over the top rope. That clubbing forearm by the Deadly Sin 7, driving the throat of Slim J into the top rope.
Well, very nicely there. I got to give Jeremy Vane credit, as crazy as it might be, and took the Deadly Sin 7 off of Slim J just enough. Is that enough for Slim J to rebound back just a little? Jeremy Vane's doing everything he can. However, though, this may cost him as well, too, because it's since time for the referee to back Jeremy Vane back into the corner to grab that tag rope.
Slim J trying to catch his breath while the referee keeps the Deadly Sin 7 and Jeremy Vane apart.
Yeah, and if I was Slim J, I'd want to catch my breath in another corner. Wow, look at the power and strength of the Deadly Sin 7. Has Slim J hoisted above his head, but goes into a submission move here is Slim J, doing everything he can. And he's got to cinch it on really tight and strong, because it wouldn't take much for the Deadly Sin 7 to just go straight back on his back. But you can tell Slim J giving every ounce of strength that he can into that submission move.
Well, he's weakening the Deadly Sin 7.
And the Deadly Sin 7 just wisely falls straight back. And Jeremy Vane, nasty
falls
spill on
off
the
the
outside. Absolutely. Slim J again finding himself in the wrong place. Ugh. Again with that just devastating power that the Deadly Sin 7 has as the tag being made to our Anarchy Heavyweight Champion. Shaun Tempers winding up. Just continuing to pummel the chest of Slim J. Talking about being hung up, Slim J at the receiving end of those punishing blows, and Jeremy Vane is trying to do absolutely everything he can to save his partner, running out of ideas and running out of time.
He needs to control his temper because every time he gets in there, it's distracting the official.
Driving that midsection, or the shoulder rather, into the midsection of Slim J. And again, Slim J still somewhat closer to the corner of Shaun Tempers' tag team partner. And when you have this much punishment, and then with Jeff G. Bailey on the outside, it doesn't look too great at the moment for Slim J. Shaun Tempers winding up one more time. Jeremy Vane yelling some encouragement. Slim J looking around, seeing how close it is, but it's still going to feel like a mile to him at the moment.
I could see it in the eyes of Slim J as he was getting fired up. Goes up to the middle turnbuckle, cross body.
He goes in for a cover. This might be the distraction he needs. Can he get enough? At least he tried to turn it into a pin attempt. Not enough damage really done to Shaun Tempers to make it successful, but does he have enough to at least try and get the pin? He goes for, rather, the tag. Shaun Tempers just dropping that elbow, and again, what little bit of energy it seems Slim J had has pretty much been cut off right here.
Slim J trying to crawl over to the corner to make the tag to Jeremy Vane. Cut off by the Deadly Sin 7. Again, staring down Jeremy Vane.
Jeremy Vane goes on the other side. He's still grabbing that tag rope, so either side is still fine. He's doing everything he can, as you would do, to yell encouragement of a team member. Deadly Sin 7 winding up, using that headbutt, and still keeping his eyes on Jeremy Vane at the same time. Talk about confidence. These two seem to have it with Jeff G. Bailey on the outside. Jeremy Vane trying to get this crowd here in Cornelia, Georgia behind him. Slim J, it must have been in forever, it seems. Oh, good grief. The slam there from the Deadly Sin 7. Slim J trying to do a running back, but just met one more time as if one wasn't enough. And it may be yet another day before he's able to make a tag to Jeremy Vane, because it doesn't look like it's going to be happening here anytime soon in this matchup. The lifeless body being dragged by the Deadly Sin 7.
Wait a minute, is the Deadly Sin 7 going up the ropes?
I don't know if this is going to be a bonsai drop, exactly what he's got in mind, but either way, you don't see the big man up in the middle rope that often on Slim J.
There was very little space for Slim J to go, but he was able to crawl under the corner and avoid that splash by the Deadly Sin 7.
Slim J going through the feet of Deadly Sin, makes the tag. Jeremy Vane in as well as Shaun Tempers. Jeremy Vane winding up, hitting everything he can, trying to get his team back into this.
But you notice the Deadly Sin 7 back on the ring apron. Wanted nothing to do with the untouchable Jeremy Vane.
Yeah, every single time these two just keep behind each other, and then they get out again, but the Deadly Sin 7 is going to take this opportunity when the back's turned, at least, of Jeremy Vane, and continuing with those headbutts, just pushing Jeremy Vane straight back down to the mat. And if Slim J wasn't worse for wear, now it looks like his tag team partner just as much trouble as Slim J to the top rope with a double stomp, meeting to the back there of the Deadly Sin 7. Oh, the double underhook here from Shaun Tempers. Slim J fighting his way through the legs. And he's got that leg wrench in, and he's cinching it in, pulling back on the heavyweight champion.
He's not the legal man, though. Jeremy Vane's the legal man.
Well, kind of like what Jeremy Vane was doing to Slim J, trying to help take a little distraction away from the other person. And Slim J's in a really bad predicament here. Oh, at least enough to be able to get the Deadly Sin 7 out onto the floor here. Keep your eye on Slim J. He does love to fly. High risk as well. Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding.
Beautiful moonsault by Slim J.
If there was ever high risk, I think he just proved it. DDT! DDT cinched him beautifully. He's got the legs hooked. His cover's made. And the victory is his.
The winners of the bout out the team of the Untouchable, Jeremy Vane and Slim